guys, welcome back to the Flower Files, where we are all fellow pea pods together. I just wanted to preface this episode so that if you haven't listened to episode 1 of this 3-part series with GeoSeed, you're going to want to go back and listen to part 1. For years, I have asked GeoSeed to be part of our podcast, and every year when I would place our order, I would ask them, would you consider being on the podcast? And every year they said, we'll think about it and we'll talk to the people. Well, finally, they said yes. So I am super excited to be able to sit here today and have a 3-part series with them where it's all behind the scenes of what happens on a seed's journey as it goes from a potential flower or plant all the way into production where you and I can actually purchase it. So take a listen to today's podcast. It's really good.
So you're on. I knew you were in Maryland. You're on the Eastern Shore.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm originally from Baltimore, which is now renamed Nottingham, the area I was in.
Gotcha.
So actually,
Gotcha.
My grandparents lived right down the road from who was that big one in Maryland? Oh my goodness, the big grower.
A big grower in Maryland. Do they do perennials?
I'm not sure what they do. God,
It's probably the Perennial Farm if I had to guess, because
no,
they are.
it's not the perennial farm. It's it'll come to me later. But
I'll put it in the show notes.
It's the road, and then my grandparents' road is teeth off of it. And I can remember riding my bike past there when it was just a house and a garden behind it. And now they have all of this stuff and all these greenhouses. And like I said, the road's named after them now. And
Oh, wow. Are you talking about Babacal?
yeah, that's it.
Yes. Okay. They are awesome humans.
I couldn't get a hold of the person that invited me on the tour, but yeah, they're right there where my grandparents live.
Oh, that's cool. That is cool. Babacal has absolutely beautiful product. They started with a glass greenhouse and just slowly expanded. And now you walk through there and you're just like, wow. And you open up the next greenhouse and you go, wow.
And it's funny that piece of land that they're on from Babaco Road over to the main road is not that big. And I'm like, you guys have done so much in this little bit of space. Now they're real long, but as far as wide, they're not. And it's such a odd area.
A rare area around them.
Yeah, there's a mall right there. And I'm like, this is just such an odd area to have a farm. But like I said, when growing up, it was just a house with a little farm behind it, and now it's huge.
Yeah. It's neat to see. It's very neat to see. I want to talk a little bit about the journey behind that seed packet. I have like pages of questions and I'm trying to be very so I think most growers order seeds without even thinking about what happens before that packet arrives. If I place an order, and I know you mentioned the carousel in the previous episode where you talked about how the order comes in and people can stand and they can pick. What happens? So you have the growers who have the seeds and are your suppliers. So I guess technically they're just your seed suppliers. How do you get it from the seeds into the packet with all of your information and out to the grower? What does that process look like? What's the behind the scenes?
We order our inventory needs based on our sales forecast and issue our POs to the suppliers. The seed comes in here. It's received in put into bulk storage, and then um, right now we have a what we call a summer packing initiative. So we are ordering seed, and it's coming in, and we're getting it packed up and ready to ship um, into the fall and into next spring. And once that seed is packaged, it's stored in the area around the carousel. It's all climate controlled,
Hmm.
and it is stored there until you send in your order, and then it's picked and shipped out.
So it comes in bulk and you break it down into the 500,000 million size packets.
Correct.
I
Yes.
know it's probably a silly question, but what do those bins look like that it comes in? Is it like a great big tote? Like how does it I can't picture the scale.
From our suppliers,
Yeah.
it depends on the size of the seed. I mean, like something small like Snapdragon or Lysiantha seed. I mean, it could be in just a small, um, like envelope,
Hmm.
bag, sealed bag.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, some of the seed would not come in anything bigger than like our largest packet that we send out to customers, but larger seed, sunflowers, they, could be in, larger sealed bags when they come in.
Gotcha. 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 I was
Everything is in some kind of canister, be it, vials or sealed, hermetically sealed bags.
gotcha. That makes sense. You want to keep the humidity out, you need to keep it in top quality. I understand all that. I wasn't sure I wasn't sure how that I was like, is it a great big tote that gets rolled in? Is it
No, it normally comes in on the FedEx, or
hmm
UPS truck in a box, and
And then it gets sorted.
it goes to the seed room and it gets sorted out and put into storage.
Wow. Wow. With the I know the conversation this right now, it seems to be everybody is talking about AI and how AI is going to take everybody's jobs and change everything and all of that kind of stuff. I don't know about you, but I don't know how AI is going to take the job that I have out in the field. If it wants to take all of the buckets that I have to wash, great. I don't think anybody would complain, but I often wonder, the dishwasher, it can take that job too. But when you're talking about automation and carousels and orders being fulfilled, do you see that as leaning more towards some mechanization as opposed to having these almost library rows of seed to pull from? What does that look like?
I personally don't see that area as far as the fulfillment being any more automated than it is now. I mean the carousel system, I mean you basically have an operator that stands in the middle of the pod, and it just rotates, and they pick from the slot that it's indicating for them to pick from.
Gotcha.
Um, so I think you're always going to have some human intervention there to fill the orders
That makes sense. And they're all
and then
specialized.
tack
It's
them
not
up too.
like it's the same thing that goes out. Every order is specific to the person. And
Right.
I think that makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
Um,
we're super excited. Theo and Trilly are super excited about the carousel. Now, I don't know if they had it when we were here before, but when we were at GOC, which is only a couple miles down the road, the old building, that's all we heard about, the carousel, the carousel. And when we took our tour, I was like, oh, this carousel. And now that we're moving there, and I actually was talking to our plant director this morning, and I said, when we get moved, I'd love to put something on Facebook, a picture, a video, or something to show people that we're moving to try to make it faster and get the orders out faster, so they're not going to have to wait that 6 to 8 weeks that it takes us during busy season. We're going to be on it this year, so we're super excited about the carousel, and it's less people picking an order than it would take for us before because we were with a cart and a basket and the paper order walking, and they were everything was at alphabetical order. Now it's here, it has a number, so it's less error. So we're really excited about it.
That's it's funny you describe it like that because I pictured it almost like a grocery store where you would walk through and be like, I need this one and this one and this one and this. Okay, all right. And you said shopping cart and a basket.
And like certain, you had like A through C on one row, and one person picked every order that had that A through C, and then they passed the basket to the next person on the next row. But it was
Wow.
very, very time consuming, kind of old school. So this is going to be a lot faster.
Wow. I mean, it makes sense because you know your row. You're not gonna know the entire, but you would know your row and be able to pick those quickly. That's interesting that it then got passed. Very, very interesting. Okay. Okay. That I get that. I'll be curious to see when I obviously will reach out to you guys and touch base again, but I'll be curious to see, okay, 6 months from now, if you're all, hey, this is so much easier and we've learned these things, I would imagine there's going to be so much that you guys have, wow, we never thought of doing this, or we're excited about this, and this worked really well. Like, I'm excited to hear how it all flows for everybody. Absolutely. I know in the past there have been varieties where we have had maybe some seed shortages. And that happens. Mother Nature is not predictable by any means. I know that things happen. How how do you make the difficult decision to either completely cut something or to just, is it a first come first serve if there is a seed shortage? How do you handle?
If there is a seed shortage, it it basically is first come first serve. So whoever sends in their orders first and the
Wins?
order ships, that's who gets the inventory.
Yeah.
And as as far as whether or not we completely drop something, drop a variety, or we wait, and are hopeful, they'll have a new crop, just depends on the sales history.
Gotcha.
I mean, like right now, there's a shortage of status, believe it or not.
Hmm.
Um, the grower just had some issues where they were producing it, and we just have limited varieties right now. But once we get stock back in, then we'll put those back up for sale.
That makes
I
sense.
mean, it's just unfortunate and things like that, do happen.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. How do you handle rules and regulations? Let me hold on. Let me pause that question. Do you order any seed that comes in from overseas? I would assume that you do.
Yes.
So how do you handle the seed that has to come in? Are there a lot of regulations around seed coming in? Because I know there's USDA is like that's what they do. You know, you leave the country, you come back, and they're like, "Did you bring this? Did you bring this? Did you bring this?" I know there's a process behind it, but how do you work through that
The import of seed is regulated by the USDA plant
division?
inspection
Hmm.
pod, that group, and you have to have an import permit.
Okay.
And so we maintain an import permit, and then there are varieties that cannot be imported. They're banned or restricted.
Hmm.
And then there's others that you can import, but you have to have the permit.
Wow.
And then there's a whole nother, probably the larger portion of them can be imported, and no permit required. And the ones that have to be inspected when we import them, they have to go to an inspection station to be inspected,
Hmm.
and then they are forwarded on to us once they are cleared.
Cleared. That makes sense. How in the world, and maybe this is something that I would ask one of the suppliers, but how in the world do they keep the wheat seeds completely out? I have never once, ever had seed germinate that wasn't what was supposed to be in the packet. And that's awesome because I've saved seeds and then planted and been like, oh, that was not what I thought it was.
Yeah, I mean I can't speak to how they keep their fields clean, but I mean they do purity tests and everything on the lots to, to make sure there's no contamination.
It's fantastic. It's amazing. And I've always been fascinated with that. Absolutely. Absolutely fascinated with those things. So I'm sure working in customer service, you guys get lots of questions and mispronunciations, as you know. Now that you'll have numbers, you won't have that as much anymore. Can you share with me a customer service story that jumps to mind?
um, like you said, pronunciation. Um, there's several varieties that when they mispronounce them, you want to laugh. But then you get off the phone and turn around and say, you know what he just called that?
That was me.
It's like Indianapolis Amos. Anna, it's, they'll call it Indianapolis Amos.
Oh,
And it's like the forum. Buffalo.
yeah.
And I turn around and
Sorry.
go, well, I guess we got some buffalo.
Well,
Usually the
it's
spelling
hard.
is pretty funny too when they write them out. But yeah, and we when we were at the other location, we did have not many, but a couple of customers that would come in. We had a gentleman that bought vegetable seeds from us, and I really believe that he just came in to talk to all the ladies in the office, and he would bring his wife, but she would sit in the car, and he would be in our building for at least 30 minutes, and he just talked and talked and talked. But it was, he always bought something. We all knew him by name,
Yeah.
so that was fun. And when you're in customer service, because I've answered the phone a million times, and then like me and Dora go to trade shows. So you go to a trade show and you put a face to the name, and you're like, that's not what I thought you looked like.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's been Dora's had a customer, and we Googled the customer because she talked to him so much, and she's just, I wonder what this person looks like. So
Yeah.
we'll Google them and see their business, and just, I'm like, okay, okay. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. I think the name and the face part of customer service, you hear this voice and you think, oh, they're going to look like that. And then they walk in, you're like, oh, 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 okay.
Yeah.
Or the voice. Maybe the voice doesn't match the face or something. And you're like, but you have to keep that veneer. You have to keep that, that professionalism. And God forbid if somebody's sitting next to you and starts laughing, it's like, nope, I need to turn the other direction because I cannot laugh. I cannot do this.
Well,
Oh my gosh.
with the pronunciation of the flower seeds and everything, it kind of goes the same way with customers because
Mm.
the names are just sometimes very odd, and then we'll walk around the office and be like, "How would you pronounce this if you were calling this
Hmm.
person?" Because
Hmm. Yeah.
their names are so odd.
Yes. Yes. And it's first names, it's last names, it's business names, it's so many different things that it's hard. It's really hard to have that professionalism sometimes where you're just like, I don't know how to pronounce this.
I love the business names. People are so creative. And when I was opening mail before at the other location, I opened mail every day, and if I had a funny name, I'd just scream it out in the office, and I'd be like, "This person's name is this," and I was like, "Have y'all ever heard that before?" Or show the envelope, "Can you pronounce this? What is this?" And
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You guys have a window to everybody's business. Literally. Literally,
Really,
literally.
it's
Um,
interesting to me how they keep
are there
over.
seed myths that you guys get asked or things to clarify that folks will ask you about that you're like, ooh, I don't know what to do with this? Do you get asked weird questions too? Around here, we know that whether you're hauling flowers to market, delivering wedding arrangements, heading to a job site, or simply getting your family from where they need to go, you need a vehicle you can count on. That's why we're proud to partner with Bob Bell Chevrolet. Bob Bell Chevrolet has been serving Maryland drivers with a commitment to quality vehicles, exceptional customer service, and a team that truly cares about helping you find the right fit for your needs. Whether you're looking for a dependable truck, a family SUV, or a fuel efficient vehicle for your daily adventures, their team is ready to help. As a small business owner, I know how important it is to support businesses that invest in their communities. And Bob Bell Chevrolet has built a reputation for doing exactly that. To learn more about their inventory, services, and current specials, visit Bob Bell Chevrolet or stop in and see their team in person. A huge thank you to Bob Bell Chevrolet for supporting the Flower Files and helping us continue to bring you conversations that educate, inspire, and connect our flower loving community.
I would say the biggest myth we deal with is customers thinking that the seed is going to go bad,
Yeah,
or if we're not selling, not necessarily we're not selling fresh seed, but there is that a new lot, and we're like, well, it's tested constantly, so
Mhm.
we have a germination rate we have to stay above, and we're not going to sell anything below that. But also, if you have the seeds at home, you keep them in a dry, dark place, and they're not going to go bad right away. You have
Right,
plenty of time.
right.
they found seeds in the tombs of Egypt that have germinated after 2,000 years. And also, when companies and farmers grow like a perennial, they might grow enough for 5 years. They won't have to grow anymore until about 4 years later. And they've got seed, they between it, and then they send it. But they might have seed that's still 5 years old
Hmm.
in the first place. But they'll send it on, and they'll say either send it to us, and when it gets here, it's usually going to germinate higher, but that is the standard that's put on it. But we can't say that seed is going to go bad the first year. Um, and there's also a myth that toasted seed doesn't germinate well the second year. But I've had it germinate well 3 or 4 years later. So,
I'll admit I do too. I
because I
have
kept,
things that I've saved.
because I kept it in a cool, dry place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So,
I have
yeah,
seeds in my freezer at home.
yeah. You know they're not going anywhere.
I had perennial seeds come in, and they asked me to take it home and germinate it, because they can't get it to germinate in the lab. So I'll take it home, and I've got some left over. I can't germinate it at home, but then several years later, I'd bring it out of my refrigerator and
Hmm.
germinate it.
Your guys' gardens must be gorgeous. If you get to take home
No,
extra seeds. Oh,
no, no, my
no.
garden. Well, we moved to a bigger piece of property.
Mm,
Um,
mm. That's awesome.
if I had time.
So I
So,
feel like many growers don't know what happens behind the scenes, and you guys have definitely shed light on the whole process as to how things come through, what the what the seed process is for even getting it in, but we haven't talked about pricing. How do you determine your pricing structure? I know I'm not asking for like your specific formula. But I know there's certain seeds that are really expensive. Eucalyptus and lisianthus immediately come to mind. I always assumed it's because it takes longer to germinate and they're a higher value crop. And I think they also aren't very prolific as opposed to a sunflower, where you look at a sunflower and the seeds are like, here's 1,000 of them, here you go. Is it more about how easy it is to get the seed, or is it supply and demand, or is it a mixture of things? How does pricing factor in?
It's a mixture. I mean, as far as our pricing goes, I mean, we're at the pretty much at the mercy of our seed suppliers. Um, their cost is based on basically how much it costs them to produce the seed. So, like a, a sunflower that they could grow like out in the open field and harvest would obviously be cheaper than something that's got to be produced in the greenhouse and then, hand picked for the seed. And then, new hybrid varieties are going to be higher priced as well.
That makes sense.
And then we just apply our margin goal to, the supplier's cost. But I mean, there are wild swings, like within sunflowers, there's wild price differences just based on the ease of production. I mean, is it a new hybrid, like the pollenless
Mhm.
varieties are more higher priced than others.
I'm thinking about sunflower. You have that traditional white and black stripe. You can eat it. All of the hunters plant it for all of their dove hunting. I mean, you can you can eat it yourself all the way through to it then becoming a bird seed. That seed obviously is going to have, while it has a huge amount of use, it's so readily available. And I've seen the videos of them harvesting. They take the seed, they hit it a couple times, and they all fall off. As you said, something like Lysianthus, snapdragons. I would not want to be responsible for harvesting snapdragon seed ever in my life.
Me either.
Absolutely not. No way. And they come in little vials when they get to us. So I just, that's another one where you just don't want to sneeze because it'll be gone. No, thank you. So I would assume all of that is part of the factor in, and then you have your envelopes in the containers and the sealing, and there's so many layers to making sure that the seed lasts for so long.
Right.
I think that would probably all be part of it, correct?
Yeah. I mean, that's all part of the big picture when um, for our margin, you know, goals.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, for sure, for sure, for sure. Um, and I think customer support for folks has definitely changed over the years. But I think, as we had talked about, the trends definitely shift. There's a lot of different pieces, there's a lot of moving parts, there's a lot of different things that happen. Um, what changes do you see coming that growers should be paying attention to? Is there anything that has gotten your guys' attention in any of the whole process that has shifted? I know that was a really broad question, but you guys grow so much.
I mean, I guess one thing is just not always assuming that seed is readily available
Mm,
because there always can be, a crop issue with something that you might never think that would ever be, like a sunflower.
hmm
Things do go out of stock, and especially with someone, if they're wanting like larger quantities, it's always better to plan ahead and give us or, you know, whomever the seed supplier is a heads up because seed that especially comes from Europe or, Asia does take a while to get here.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
planning ahead, I would say, is beneficial for everybody.
I feel like traditionally, for years, it's always been you want to plant something, you buy the seed. Do you feel that that is starting to shift a little bit to plugs and liners?
It has in our park wholesale sales. Um, and I would say probably industry wide, there's been a shift to more plugs and liners. But I mean, Geo and Twilly, I mean, there's still a big customer base there just for seeds.
Yes,
So,
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. I've
we
I've been
scroll over
fascinated
here,
with how
but
many more suppliers there are for plugs and liners. I feel like for a long time it was you either had the seed or you found a greenhouse that had it more more finished than what I see now. I feel like there's a lot more plugs and liners that are available, and it's available in quantities that are a little more digestible. Oh, 500 years ago when I was in college. Um, but back in the 90s, all kidding aside, when I was in college, it was always you bought seeds and that's what you did. I was in a wholesale greenhouse production at that time, and they had all kinds of different things that came in. And the only thing that I ever saw come in that was live, that was poinsettias. You got the poinsettias, and they came in, and that was it. And and now today, you have whole catalogs that are just full of all of these different liners that are available. And I think it's amazing to me. I always looked at liners and plugs as things that were things that people necessarily couldn't germinate well or they didn't grow well, and you needed a more professional setting. And now when I log on and I look at just different kinds of plugs and liners, it's very broad. There's a wide variety of things that's available. And I think that's a testament to you guys understanding what customers need, want, and what the industry is saying, hey, we need help with this. I think as shipping has changed too, it's a lot safer now for me to order something and the whole shipping process. I don't see as many things tumbling out of their container. I think it's a lot. I just am more confident when I place an order for something to be shipped to me that's a liner or a plug. I don't see the damage, and as I said, the process behind it has shifted. There's the packaging is really neat. You know, you get to slide the whole tray out, and I have this perfect tray where before it was like I would open it, it would be like popcorn all inside and things would be all over the place. So I think that probably has helped as well because how else are you going to ship plants? That's tricky. That's really tricky. You're talking about a live product. It can't get too hot. It can't get too cold. You don't want it to fall apart, and having it rooted correctly and be available and ready to grow. Yeah, you may have a couple leaves that you have to pick off, but I don't see the difficulty that I used to years ago, years ago. So that's been a really neat trend that I've seen as well. As
George and I worked with plants with part food before, and the problems associated with shipping stock, plant material, we had a lot of problems. And that was
yeah,
one of the first stages. But anyway, I kept saying to them, George, said you ought to rank down in the slot, dogs, and things like that. He said, when you get it with live plant material, you get it. He said, I don't feel like I'm so we stuck with food.
makes sense. Seed is a lot easier.
And five suppliers of line,
Mm,
and he used them. So it's very easy for him to go from one supplier. They didn't have it, so some of those
mhm.
get the same product.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So now you guys are this, not that you weren't a great big huge company before, but with everybody together, and now you're this great big huge company with all of these amazing resources. How do growers, whether they're large growers, small growers, or just starting out, how do they use your resources that you guys have available?
But, we try to, we don't know something, we try to find the information and send it to them about it. We've helped people with growing instructions. I mean, I don't have a horse degree, but you'll think I do. Because, but all I had was a little book at first. Now I go to the internet.
Mhm.
Our
Makes sense.
board had a tremendous um, culture file that we can see and help people with the pronounce culture and things. And that helped them a lot. That's how they use it. And those questions.
I think the resources that I've always depended on from you guys is honestly just a phone call. Hey, I'm having a hard time with this. Has anybody else experienced this? Are you are you guys looking to build any resources or do anything? Because I know the park catalog in itself has a huge amount of information and it's pretty and it's classy and it has all of the stuff. Where GeoSeed has always been a little more, it's been for a professional grower. You have to know your stuff. So somebody will say to me, I had the garden club out here yesterday and they're like, where do you get your seeds? And I was like, where I get my seeds and where you get your seeds, it's going to be a little bit different because of the volume that I use. But at the end of the day, if you're trying to germinate Hills of Ireland, whether it's 50 seeds, 5 seeds, or 500 seeds, they need cold stratification and they love to be tucked into a cold, damp paper towel for a couple days and then they germinate well when you put two together in a cell. It's from you guys that I learned some of that. It's from some of your information that you've shared. And I just want to say thank you for that because I wouldn't be able to grow half the stuff that I grow if it hadn't been for the tools and resources that you guys have shared, even through some of your social media over time. Hey, grow it like this. That's been huge. So just keep doing the awesome stuff you guys are doing.
Uh, we have a germ lab here, but we also had a germ lab there, and we kept very good notes on how to germinate certain seeds because there were some that were so hard to germinate. But that was a good resource for us and for our sales team to be able to look at the notes and give that information to customers.
It was huge. That was huge because I don't remember who it was. Dora, I don't believe it was you who helped me this time, but I had called and said, I really want to grow this. The germination rate is supposed to be this. I have less than half. I'm doing something wrong. I need help. And I've seen a couple different resources online, but I don't know which one to follow. And somebody kind of walked me through the whole process and said, you need two. They need friends. They don't germinate on their own. And to this day, now I have great germination because of it. So, yeah, your guys' tools and resources are amazing. So, if growers want to get your catalog and they're not on your mailing list, how do they get added to that?
They can call us. You can request a catalog on the website. Um, Pretty much any of our social medias, you can reach out and we have people that will mail us letters and say, send me a catalog. So, I mean, I think the thing is, it's easy to find out how to contact us is to know who we are. So getting our name out there is what we focus on, letting more people know who we are.
Yes. Yes, that makes sense. And as I said, I stumbled into it because I had found you guys kind of through other places. So I'm thrilled that you guys are getting your name out there because it really does make a difference. You guys have made a You are my seed source. You are my start point for my entire season, and I can't thank you enough for the quality, the incredible customer service, the incredible variety that I don't have to hunt and peck all over the place to try to find things. Um, so thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with us here on the Flower Files. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please take a moment to follow the podcast, leave us a review, and share this episode with a friend, a fellow gardener, a flower farmer, a florist, or just a flower lover. Your support helps us continue bringing more stories, more education, more inspiration to the flower community. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you can hit that notification bell and never miss an episode. All of those things really do make a difference. You can find show notes, resources, and more flower-filled inspiration at Wildly Native Flower Farm. And be sure to connect with us on social media to continue the conversation. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and keep sharing the beauty that flowers bring to the world. This is the Flower Files, where we plant stories and grow conversations.